I think it's an accurate representation of how we as black people treat each other because it's been that way since slavery days, where light skins are viewed better as viewed better than dark skin, um, and we as a culture don't help that because to this day we still have that same perception as where if you're light skinned, then you're much better than if you're dark skinned.
I do feel, I also feel that nowadays the way it's portrayed is to tear the community apart, and it really keeps the heat off of more prevalent issues such as unfair treatment in the workplace, unfair treatment of blacks in general, uh, so on and so forth. If they can keep us focused on infighting, then we're never going to tackle the bigger issues.
If you had to ask me, the only thing that we saw, or that I saw a lot of light skinned blacks, and they all had curly hair, and they all had light colored eyes. So now things are kind of starting to change. We're seeing more dark skinned blacks with natural looking hair. It's finally, well, maybe almost acceptable to see that in the media these days, which is very crazy.
Because I can say I've even had instances where even when posting photos on social media, I've gone so far as to find filters to make myself darker. So I can say I have been affected by how I feel about myself.
I actually felt sorry for those in charge of um, who we saw in the media, who was hired to do those films. I felt very sorry for them. I hated that they actually believed that this was what looked um, the best on television or the best in media, but I guess they were just catering to that specific audience.
You can also see it within, with certain celebrities. You notice that they stay focused on celebrities who are lighter skin, like Beyonce, like Rihanna.
And we can even see it in the memes. We have it comes on both sides of the fence, so on and so forth. And it's not just perpetrated within the black community; it goes outside all races as a form of entertainment.
In any race, there's different shades, but for some reason, in the African American community, there's a difference. And I think the problem sometimes is more against ourselves than with any other race. So that's a major situation.
I can recall where, even in college, it was brought up where I'm just sitting there and someone mentions, just staring at me. I felt eyes just bearing into me, like digging deep. And then this darker skinned young man just said,
Who is me?
off the record, it was him. He just said, you would have been in the house. And mind you, this is 2008, so I was a tad bit taken back by that statement.
Okay, we're taking way out of context. At the time, I was reading something on slavery, and I was like, oh yeah, I read that. If you were of lighter complexion, you worked either in the house or close to the house, and the darker you worked, the further you worked away from the house. So I looked towards my cousin, who I was sharing a dorm with at the time. I look at him. I'm just thinking about it, and I say to him, you would have been in the house.
It had to do with the fact I was sitting closer to the door.
No.